we are expecting to see a month's worth of rain in just 1 week. But we do want to start tonight with the latest on that earthquake swarm. The USGS says it began when a 2.5 magnitude quake struck in San Ramon about 7:40 tonight. Since then, at least 18 quakes have struck the area.
This is where the ground has spoken, over 100 times in a matter of weeks. In late December, the San Ramon region of California's East Bay found itself at the epicenter of relentless seismic activity. One after another, tremors rippled beneath quiet suburban neighborhoods, parking lots, and office parks. Most rumbled with a subtle shudder. Some arrived back to back, just minutes apart. The largest, a magnitude 4.0, sent ripples from the rocky hillsides down to the edge of the city at precisely 7:56 p.m., catching many residents off guard. For most, it began as a fleeting sensation, a lamp swinging, a slight jolt underfoot, a second of uncertainty before life returned to normal. But for geologists and scientists, these persistent vibrations told a deeper story. They signaled the presence of an evolving earthquake swarm, not defined by one catastrophic release, but by a chorus of smaller shocks, pulsing unpredictably over hours and days. By the week's end, at least 6 tremors above magnitude 2.5 and many more smaller ones had been registered along the hidden faults threading through San Ramon's bedrock. What lies beneath this surge of seismic activity? Is the Bay Area inching its way towards something far larger? Or are these swarms manifestations of the Earth gently releasing stress? Tonight, we delve into the San Ramon sequence, exploring the science behind swarming quakes, decoding what separates a harmless tremor from a warning shot, and unraveling the secrets in tectonic stone beneath the East Bay. Stay with us as we follow the trembling trail deep into California's Restless foundation. Chapter 1. San Ramon Earthquake Swarm Explained. A sudden jolt at dusk, a subtle shake as dinner cooks. What is happening beneath the feet of San Ramon residents? Between Friday and Monday night, seismic monitors tallied multiple earthquakes of note, alongside numerous smaller events. Most of these tremors hovered just above the threshold of perception, with the strongest, a preliminary magnitude 4.0, striking 3.1 miles southeast of the city at 7:56 p.m. Residents described an eerie, recurring sense of motion, sometimes feeling as if the floors themselves were gently undulating. Yet, it was the relentless clustering, the swarm, that set this event apart. Unlike a single, newsworthy quake, these shocks arrived in flurries. A preliminary magnitude 3.9 at 6:30 p.m, a 2.8 only minutes later, and then the magnitude 4.0 just before 8 o'clock. Why do some earthquakes arrive alone, while others descend in swarms, like a barrage of rapid-fire murmurs from beneath the earth? San Ramon residents wondered aloud whether this would be another big one, anxiously checking on loved ones or refreshing live feeds after each distinct vibration. In this case, the sequence did not follow the classic main shock aftershock model. Rather, it pointed toward a deeper process unfolding within the crust. If the shaking is so frequent, what does it really mean? Is it a sign of mounting danger, or an indication of the Earth incrementally releasing pent-up tension?
Chapter 2. Why earthquake swarms happen. Why do certain faults stir with a flurry of tremors, while others stay quiet for years? The answer lies in the intricate choreography of stress and strain beneath the surface. In San Ramon's case, seismologists note recurring swarm activity over time, a pattern that's both familiar and confounding. A typical earthquake, sharp, sudden, isolated, erupts when accumulated tectonic strain overcomes friction, snapping rock layers apart. Swarms, like those currently documented in San Ramon, move to a different rhythm. A series of smaller quakes, none dominant, all spurred by shifting pressures in the subsurface. It's as if the Earth is moving in a series of tentative steps, rather than a single bold leap. Here, subtle changes drive the show. Imagine tiny doors unlocking, each creaking open as stress migrates from one fracture to the next. Rapid sequences, with little in the way of a singular main shock, suggest shifting fluid pressures or modest redistributions of stress. Some swarms may signal fault creeping, edges sliding quietly past each other in small increments,
rather than in a dramatic rupture. This creeping may go unnoticed at the surface, but is one way the crust periodically relieves stress. Why then is San Ramon so susceptible to this repeating pattern? Beneath the city lies an intersecting network of faults and saturated geological layers, an environment primed for incremental movements. Are these tremors harmless background noise or early warning signals of something greater? Chapter 3. The role of faults in the East Bay. What makes San Ramon, a city ringed by tranquil parks and neighborhoods, a hotspot for these seismic swarms? The answer is found in the network of fault lines threading beneath the surface. In the heart of the East Bay, the Calaveras Fault snakes northward, one of many branches of the larger San Andreas system. Experts describe the region as a knot of intersecting fractures. The Calaveras Fault, with its splays and branches, slowly builds up strain, sometimes releasing it as a prominent jolt, but more often through a steady sequence of minor shifts. The Hayward Fault, running parallel to the west, is also active and has its own potential for significant earthquakes. Though these two faults are structurally distinct, they both influence local seismicity, sometimes via barely detectable stress transfers. Beneath San Ramon, microfaults and splays form a tangled web, each storing and releasing stress in its own way. When pressure on a fault rises, even by a fraction, microfractures can begin to slip. This pressure may result from groundwater changes, tectonic creep nearby, or redistribution after other seismic events. There's also evidence that movement along one fault could prompt activity on another through stress transfer, although the specifics of such interactions are still being studied. Are these events stacking towards something larger, or are they the Earth's way of releasing strain in manageable increments? Chapter 4. The anatomy of a swarm. In scientific terms, what does a swarm look like? In San Ramon, seismographs over days painted a clear pattern, a constellation of shallow events distributed over a zone southeast of the city. Rather than one dramatic spike, seismographs registered rapid-fire blips, 6 of which were above magnitude 2.5 within just a few hours on Friday night. The hallmark of swarm activity is clustering. Many quakes of similar magnitude spaced closely in time and area. Each event, fleeting but noticeable, builds on the last, like gentle hammers tapping a beam. For residents, the experience is unsettling, a repeated sequence of vibrations with unpredictable timing. Seismologists analyze event depth, location, and energy release, searching for patterns. Sometimes, clusters may migrate along a fault, their center shifting gradually over hours or days. Compared to singular large quakes with sharply defined waveforms, swarm quakes are generally less distinctive, their signals blending into one another. Scientists pore over these fingerprints to glean insights into subsurface movements, but even so, it remains difficult to predict which swarms might foreshadow a larger event.
Chapter 5. Comparing past swarms. How does the current San Ramon swarm compare to previous local clusters? History shows that swarms are not new to this area. In late 2015, nearly 1,000 minor quakes struck San Ramon in dense clusters over several weeks. That 2015 event started much like this one, with a scattered series of mild jolts that escalated in frequency. The largest was a magnitude 4.0. There was no significant property damage, only widespread nerves and sleepless nights. Sharp bursts were followed by quieter periods, a pattern familiar to residents today. From that experience, San Ramon developed a kind of seismic muscle memory, a recognition that while swarms grab headlines, they have rarely led to serious harm in this part of the East Bay. Scientists compare seismographic records, analyzing spatial patterns, depths, and how stress migrates during a swarm. Each sequence adds to the body of knowledge about regional seismicity. Are swarms just routine pressure releases, or do they sometimes foreshadow bigger quakes? In San Ramon, larger quakes following swarms have been rare, but uncertainty remains part of the equation. Chapter 6. Real-time monitoring and early detection.
Who watches the pulse of San Ramon beneath the surface? The region is covered by a dense network of seismic monitoring stations, operated in part by UC Berkeley and the USGS. These sensors, planted across the Bay Area, capture even faint tremors in real time. Thanks to this network, residents can receive shake alert notifications a few seconds before stronger shaking. While early warning times for magnitude 4.0 quakes are short, sometimes 5 to 15 seconds, they are enough in some cases for people to take protective action. Data from these sensors is rapidly cross-checked by experts, with magnitude and location typically confirmed within minutes. The technology continues to improve. Advanced accelerometers and GPS modules detect even millimeter-scale shifts, helping seismologists build ever more detailed models of fault behavior. Still, there are limits. While real-time warning can save lives in a major quake, small magnitude swarms may be too quick or subtle for meaningful alerts, and larger, unpredictable ruptures may arrive with little warning at all. Chapter 7. The science behind swarm triggers. What forces are at work nudging San Ramon into motion? Swarms do not necessarily require a dramatic, catastrophic trigger. Often, very small pressure changes deep underground are enough to set off a chain of low-magnitude quakes. Local changes in groundwater levels, small shifts after distant tectonic events, and seasonal variations can all play a part. As strain gradually builds, tiny fractures begin to slip, each minor quake altering the balance along the fault. In saturated fault zones, even modest increases in fluid pressure can lower friction and promote movement. Research has indicated that in some years, heightened rainfall and changes in the water table correspond to an uptick in earthquake activity in parts of California, including the East Bay. However, the interaction between groundwater and seismicity is complex, and while there is evidence of correlation, causation is not always clear. If the triggers of swarms are so subtle, what else might be influencing the seismic clock? Scientists continue to examine the data, knowing that however small the initiating push, it illustrates the ever-poised tension beneath California's surface. Chapter 8. Magnitude matters when small becomes significant. Do a flurry of smaller earthquakes ever add up to something larger? The majority of San Ramon's recent quakes clustered between magnitudes 2.5 and 4.0, generally not enough to damage buildings or cause injury. Yet, the cumulative effect is not easily dismissed. Research shows that clusters of minor seismicity, particularly if concentrated in time and space, can sometimes stress adjacent segments of a fault system. There have been cases worldwide where swarms preceded larger quakes, but also many where they did not. In the Bay Area, the current scientific consensus is that while swarms usually serve as gentle releases of stress, they cannot definitively rule out escalation. In swarms, unlike in mainshock-aftershock sequences, it is often unclear if the system is winding down or still building up. For San Ramon, the message remains. While most swarms have passed harmlessly, the remote possibility of a larger rupture shapes preparations and public awareness. Chapter 9. Expert Analysis. Clues from the Crust. What are the experts saying as the ground continues its restless motions? Dr. Anne-Marie Bolte, a research seismologist at the USGS, notes that swarms are not rare, but their underlying mechanisms remain a subject of intense study. She and her colleagues emphasize the significance of stress changes in setting off cascades of minor quakes, especially in fault systems already primed for movement. To scientists, each quake is valuable data. Its location, depth, and energy profile help reconstruct the architecture and behavior of local faults. A swarm provides hundreds of opportunities to monitor how stress migrates, how faults interact, and how microstructures below the surface may influence broader seismic hazards. This process continually updates the seismic hazard map for the region, adding detail and revising probabilities for potential future events. Even so, seismic forecasting is difficult. Each swarm yields more questions. Are these tremors revealing something new about the fault?
Or does unpredictability remain inherent to the process? As always, in seismology, certainty is elusive. Chapter 10. The fluid connection, water and pressure. Could groundwater changes really tip the balance? Many faults in the Bay Area, including those beneath San Ramon, are at least partially saturated. Changes in rainfall, drought cycles, or even deep well activity can alter pressures underground. When fluids enter fault zones, they reduce friction and can make slip more likely when tectonic stresses are close to critical. Some studies have linked increased earthquake activity in wet years to deeper water penetration and increased pore pressure, particularly in the upper crust. During persistent winter rains, the water table in regions like San Ramon can rise, potentially providing the final nudge needed for small but numerous quakes. Though there is only indirect evidence that such effect played a role in the recent swarm, the correlation is suggestive. Human actions, such as large-scale pumping or wastewater disposal, can also trigger earthquakes, as seen elsewhere in the United States and globally. But there is no clear evidence linking such activities to San Ramon's recent sequences. Chapter 11. Urban impact, building on the fault line. How does daily life change during a local earthquake swarm? In San Ramon, many noticed flickering lights, gently swaying objects, or sudden jolts underfoot. Though these events caused no major damage, the atmosphere shifted. Anxious conversations filled social media and neighborhood forums. Businesses and schools reviewed emergency procedures and, at times, conducted impromptu safety checks. Since the Loma Prieta earthquake, Bay Area building codes have required reinforced construction, with measures like ductile frames and shear walls designed to withstand moderate and even strong shaking. These codes are central to reducing risk, ensuring that typical swarms, even those with magnitude 4.0 quakes, cause minimal harm to structures. Nevertheless, the psychological impact is harder to quantify. Increased interest in earthquake insurance, emergency preparedness kits, and community drills often follows notable sequences. Each swarm is a reminder that beneath California's daily routine lies a powerful, unpredictable geology. Chapter 12. The psychological toll, living with uncertainty. When the ground refuses to settle, anxiety lingers. Persistent swarms create an unpredictability that can be more stressful than a solitary quake. In San Ramon, families traded stories. Apps that track earthquakes spiked in downloads, and people found themselves listening for the next tremor. Mental health professionals observe that drawn-out swarm activity can increase stress, disturb sleep, and revive old anxieties. Children may need extra reassurance. Neighbors reconnect at impromptu meetings or safety gatherings. Some schools incorporate earthquake awareness into lesson plans, both to inform and to comfort students. Experts recommend community preparedness and open dialogue as antidotes to fear. Block parties and neighborhood meetings serve dual purposes, reinforcing social bonds and promoting emergency readiness. Experience shows that communities well-informed and well-organized tend to fare best, both during and after seismic events. Chapter 13. Technology and forecasting. Progress in prediction. Each year, the science of earthquakes advances. In the Bay Area, new algorithms, denser sensor networks, and better communication tools provide increasingly sophisticated data on earthquakes both large and small. Nowcasting, assessing near-term earthquake risk based on up-to-date seismic activity, is in its infancy but growing. Artificial intelligence helps parse the patterns in real time, distinguishing between ordinary background shocks and clusters that might warrant concern. Still, no technology currently in use allows for precise prediction of when or where a substantial earthquake will strike. Each swarm, though, helps build better models for the future. Public information systems such as Shake Alert provide valuable, if brief, advance notice of strong shaking. Such early warnings may help avoid injuries in hospitals or on roads by giving just enough time for basic protective actions. Yet the unpredictability that defines earthquake swarms puts inherent limits on forecasting, reminding everyone that for now, vigilance is the best defense.
Chapter 14. The Bigger Picture, California's Restless Landscape. Zooming out, San Ramon swarms echo a much larger, complex, and ongoing story. California sits atop a shifting jigsaw of faults, each section following its own unpredictable timeline. From the San Andreas to the Hayward and Calaveras, the Bay Area alone has a dense, interlinked web of potential seismic sources. Swarm sequences like San Ramon's are not unique. Throughout California, from Imperial Valley to Ridgecrest, clusters of small quakes sometimes hint at broader geological movements. The 2019 Ridgecrest event in Southern California, for instance, began as a swarm before erupting into significant earthquakes. Every swarm adds a chapter, informing scientists, policymakers, and the public about the patterns of seismic stress and release across the state. Is California's future shaped more by frequent small events or by rare, massive quakes? History contains examples of both. What is clear is that statewide vigilance, investment in monitoring, and a culture of readiness are essential. Chapter 15. When the Tremors Fade, Lessons in Vigilance. As the days pass and the ground settles, normalcy returns to San Ramon. This latest sequence appears to be winding down, with fewer recorded events and a restored sense of calm. Yet each swarm leaves a mark, on both scientific records and community memory. Scientists are left with rich datasets, crews with enhanced models, and residents with sharper awareness of the region's risks. The greatest lesson is not about prediction, but preparation. Strong building codes, regular earthquake drills, and families and institutions that plan for contingencies. Humility before the workings of geology is key. Underneath San Ramon, the story of tectonic restlessness is ongoing. Faults shift and lock, pressure slowly builds and finds release, and life above adapts, sometimes anxiously, sometimes with quiet confidence. Earthquakes come and go, but the dialogue between people and the ground beneath them is ever present. Here, in a region defined by innovation and resilience, each tremor adds another line to the ongoing script, etched both in stone and in collective memory. For now, the ground is quiet, but in California, the next line is always being written, just beneath the surface, always waiting.